Wealth inequality is on the rise. The world's 26 richest people own as much as the poorest 50% of all people, according to Oxfam. And on the face of it, this is a terrifying statistic.
Closer to home, a similar statistic is equally as concerning. The UK's 6 richest people control as much wealth as the poorest 13 million. These super rich have one thing in common. They all own assets that continually work for them. Stocks, land, property and businesses.
The best strategy to win at Monopoly is to buy everything. Own the board, win the game. Life is no different. Your opponents will have to pay you every time they land on your street. The more you own, the more money you make.
The crucial difference between Monopoly and the real world is that there can be more than one winner. Wealth is unlimited. It's yours if you want it.
The fact that some people have extraordinary sums of wealth does not prevent us or you from doing the same. In fact, it inspires us.
Although the likelihood of us generating that amount of money is relatively slim, we, and you, are more than capable of building up a small empire. All that it requires is to start buying assets immediately and never to stop. It all boils down to ownership, ownership, ownership.
This is not just another video on why assets will make you passive income. In this video, we're not just going to talk about why you need to own assets, but also why this is now more important than ever. Let's check it out. Welcome to the Unshackled.com, the investment channel and website that sets you and your finances free.
That was Andy and I'm Ben, and if you like what we say, hit the like button and click subscribe.
The easiest way to begin buying assets is by investing in the stock market. We have loads of information on our website, including some awesome offers to help you get started. So check out moneyunshackled.com.
Why you need to own assets. This is covered endlessly on the internet, including on our own channel, so we'll keep this brief. If you don't own assets, you have to trade your time for money decade after decade until you are dead. Period. But assets will make you money while you do nothing. If you own stocks, they will hopefully, assuming you have made a good investment, pay you an income in the form of a dividend for life.
Buy assets versus build assets. An asset is essentially anything that will produce an income for you, and if you're anything like us, you will have up until now only ever bought assets second hand. By this we mean someone else has created the asset and sold it to you. For instance, buying stocks would be an example of second-hand ownership.
While this is certainly far better than not owning any assets at all, there is a major problem with this. Most of the wealth generation was done when the asset was first created. Starting and building a business is where the enormous wealth is born. This is the point that market value is created. We're not saying that stocks won't continue to grow in value, because of course they do. But more value is created by building an asset from scratch.
Between us we own many assets, including stocks, property, funds, peer-to-peer loans and commodities. But we also create our own assets. This very YouTube channel is a perfect example how wealth was created from nothing. We own these videos and they will continue to bring in an income for us for however long the content is valuable to its audience.
Why owning assets is now more important than ever. Number 1. Labour outsourcing set to increase. For decades, the lure of cheaper employment abroad and advances in technology has meant that companies have outsourced work to places like India and China. This totally makes sense. Cheaper labour has allowed companies to drive down costs and increase profits to remain competitive.
On the most part, the jobs outsourced have been in areas such as manufacturing or call centre work. But many jobs and industries have up until now remained in the UK. But we think we're entering a terrifying period of mass outsourcing of UK jobs.
Before the COVID-19 lockdown, working from home was extremely limited, and where it was done, it was often limited to a few niche jobs. Fast forward to now, and out of necessity, companies have had to quickly adapt to remote working. What has been most surprising is how smoothly this transition has taken place, with hardly any hiccups.
If a UK company can effectively have its entire office function work remotely, then why bother hiring UK staff at all? Surely they can just outsource it to where labour is far cheaper. Say you work in marketing, can somebody in the Ecuadorian jungle with a laptop and a Wi-Fi signal do your job? We think they can, and when companies realise this, how safe is your job? The best way to reduce the impact of this is to own assets that pay you an income. It doesn't matter if jobs are being outsourced, if you own the companies that are doing the outsourcing.
Number 2. AI will replace you. Building on the last point, it's not just cheap labour that is putting your job at risk. Innovation and technology advancements into things like artificial intelligence will continue to automate jobs and remove the need for labour. Historically, this has impacted most on manual labour more than any other, but it has started to affect other job types.
From eliminating the need for checkout staff with the introduction of self-service checkouts, to computer programs that can analyse data far better than any human analyst. Self-driving cars and trains will upend the taxi and transport industries, and drones will rid us of the need for any human delivery service. No job is safe from technology. The scary thing is that these advancements are getting faster. You need to own assets to secure your future income.
Number 3. Quantitative easing and inflation. Quantitative easing is essentially printing money. Though we don't actually print physical money, central banks do create huge amounts of digital money from nothing. With this magic money, they then buy a ton of government bonds, hoping to stimulate investment and spending in the economy.
Empirical evidence suggests there is a positive correlation between quantitative easing and a rising stock market. As money pours into the bond market, this increases their prices and therefore lowers bond yields. Many investors then rush to stocks, seeking higher returns. With more money sloshing around, this gives share prices a boost. Great for those who own assets, but not for those who don't.
An increased money supply will eventually lead to rising prices. In the short term, this may not occur as prices begin to fall due to the stagnating economy at the time, often heavily impacted by falling oil prices. But over time, the increased money supply will eventually drive prices up.
While nobody with investment assets likes inflation, at least a good investment will likely outpace it. Those without assets will continue to struggle as their income is eroded. If inflation is 5%, can most people go and demand a 5% increase to their salary? Not likely.
Number 4. The UK is bankrupt. When people plan their retirement, many of them will rely on, or at least factor in, the state pension to supplement their retirement. But the way things are headed, we don't think the state pension will exist in its current form.
The UK government is drowning in national debt, and it's simply only a matter of time before something has to give. Maybe the state pension will be scrapped entirely, or perhaps it will be means tested. Either way, we think it's best to plan your retirement with this in mind by owning as many assets as possible. When you can't work and no one else will support you, you'll be glad that you prepared.
Question of the day. How are you fast-tracking your asset purchases? Let us know in the comments below.
Thanks for watching. On this channel we talk a lot about personal finance, investing and all things money. And if you want to see more great content, please click the subscribe button below.
This is moneyunshackled.com. See you next time.